believe is extremely important. It doesn't matter whether you are an executive or whether you're a business owner and what size and complexity of business you are running. The key component, which is very important and critical, is emotional intelligence. Now, why am I touching this topic of emotional intelligence? Is because I have noted many business owners and I noted many leaders out there who struggle. They have frustrations, they have stress levels are high, energy levels are low as well, and there are lots of other issues which, sort of, it's detrimental to their progress and to their growth. This is why I just wanted to share some insights on emotional intelligence. And I had this one particular business owner whom I was speaking to the other day, and she was asking me about this particular issue about emotional intelligence, and how it impacts the culture as well. So these are some of the key components that I wanted to share with you, what emotional intelligence is all about. And I wanted to also give you some tools as to what you really need to do to self reflect, to have that ability and capacity, mental capacity, to work with that highest level of excellence and resilience as well as you move forward. Now, please go ahead and say hi. I'm on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook as well. So I'm live in all these particular channels, and please go ahead and say hi and where you're coming from. Now, here's the thing. First and foremost, what is emotional intelligence? It's about your feelings, how well you manage your feelings, and the feelings of others as well. And I'll give you one or two examples here as to what really happened in one particular instant. Is that there was this one particular industrialist, and there was one particular occasion where he sort of got angry. So he was pretty angry, and what that led to was a decision he made, which was not the right decision. Let me put it that way. It wasn't the right choice. It wasn't the right effective choice, which led to a bit of a loss. And it also led to the culture being a bit toxic, if you see where I'm coming from. And after some time, because when somebody gets angry, you have to give that person some time. But after some time, I had a coaching session with him, and I took him back to that particular experience and moment where he got angry. And there's one thing that he accepted the fact that his feelings, you see, his outburst came because of his feelings of frustration, which led to this anger element. And he then started reflecting into what really happened. So here's the situation, and I want to share some four key tools as you move forward when it comes to this emotional intelligence. And by the way, research indicates that IQ, engineers have an IQ of on average 115, but IQ is in no comparison to EQ, which is the emotional quotient, and which is emotional intelligence. And the emotional quotient comes when you have these four core elements in place, which is very key to the growth of any business. And the gap occurs, and the reason why companies fail, or the reason why the progression path or the career path is hampered, is because of these four components not being taken care of. But why is it that these four elements are not really looked into? It's because of the fast moving global landscape, the way we are working, and the fast pace of change taking place, which sort of does not give us time to reflect on how to go about with our own emotions as well. But I can promise you, if you look into these particular aspects, it's going to help you to make a better impact as you move forward. So here are the four elements which I want to share with you. The first and foremost is centering, as I put it. It's self alignment, being aligned within yourself. So, how do you align yourself? It's about your values. Handpick one or two of your values. Now, for me, it's authenticity, which is very important. And here's one thing is that when I'm talking about authenticity, if I'm having a session, if I'm having even a free session with a new CEO or a new company or anything leader in my coaching session, in my free session, I give maximum value with authenticity, which makes me fearless. But at the same time, it makes me realize that I'm imperfect. It's not that I have all the answers. I mean, I learn and I try heightening my knowledge base. But my point here is that when you have that awareness, which is the second piece, the management of yourself. So, in other words, going into a bit of white space. So, here's what you can do is every day, at least in the evening, or it depends when you want to do it, but preferably this is what I would suggest, and this is what I would press upon you to consider, is in the evening, take at least 15 minutes, go into white space, but with a different mindset altogether. Is that reflect upon your feelings, look into how you managed your feelings during the day, because the identification and being aware of how your feelings are will help you to calibrate. It will help you to course correct. It will help you to alter your trajectory as you move forward. This is what many miss out. In fact, from my experience, I've seen 95 to 98% don't really do this. But this reflection, my dear friends, is so impactful and it is so value driven that it can really help you. And research indicates that those who have these core components in place are highly successful. So this is one of the things, is how you manage your feelings and what you really do, where you see that you didn't handle the situation appropriately. So it's important to appraise yourself, self appraisal within yourself. Another key element is empathy. So this is where the component of how you perceive others. So here's this thing, is the physiology itself, the person whom you are speaking to, or you are collaborating with. And you need to find out cues, you need to find out clues as well, as to the sort of feeling the other person has. Now, this is a skill set that you need to develop over time, and you will. And I'm sure many of you already have these skills, but I'm just reiterating the importance of these particular skills because they are so powerful and so important. So, here's what you really need to do, is the physiology of the person, and you'll pick up certain cues as to what's going on. I'll give you a practical example. So, what happened is last year there was one particular CEO whom I went to meet, and it was a family business. It was the first time I met this particular CEO, and I just spoke to him for about 5 minutes, and my business partner was with me, and we just spoke to him for about 5 minutes, and I just stopped him on his track, and I said, "Hey, wait a minute. I can already detect certain signals of frustration and stress." And I gave him a couple of pain points that he was facing. And he was just dumbstruck as to how would I know all this. Similarly, another example was a director of an international accounting firm whom we were coaching. The same thing happened, is that he just gave one particular pain point, and we managed to pick up 7 to 10 pain points. And again, this was he was pretty amazed. My point here is that I'm not trying to impress you on what our capability is. There's still a lot that I'm learning as well. But here's the point, is that you need to really pick up the cues. You want to grow your business, you want to grow your career, you want to progress in your career, you want to stretch yourself, you want to move to the next level. if you get this quality and the ability of listening with empathy, it's going to take you to another level altogether, my dear friends, because it's something that you really need to practice, and it's about being congruent as well. So that is key and critical. And the final point is, of course, relationship and engagement. Now imagine somebody, a bookkeeper or an accountant or a finance person, who keeps on just working with the financials, but not really engaging deeply and not looking at it from a holistic standpoint itself. Because here's where, and somebody coined this term, which is called mind sharing, which I love, because rather than resource sharing, it's about mind sharing, where two minds share and a different element of value comes in, a different level of creativity comes in. And here's the thing: knowledge, experience, your competencies is going to heighten your level of creativity altogether. So mind sharing is so important in whatever you do. So collaboration, my dear friends, this is where the interaction is. This is where the impact is. And this is where the traction is when you move forward. So these were just some of the core components I wanted to share with you as far as emotional intelligence is concerned. But here's the thing: even in hiring strong candidates, besides just the skill sets, the normal competencies, it could be a computer science programmer or whoever you are employing. But if you can look into the other traits of whether this person is proactive, which is very important, active listener, energy levels are very important, because once you can pick up on what sort of energy levels they have, that will help you to ascertain and determine how active and how lively this person is. The level of communication, my dear friends, self perception, which is so powerful again. So you see, you need to look into all these aspects to heighten the level of intelligence, because that is going to uh, it will unfold a different level of understanding altogether, and you will be able to make better decisions, because this is a critical component of how a person can handle stress. And this is so important, because, and you'll note this, is that in during this COVID period, while this pandemic is going on, here's one thing that happened in one particular business, a successful business which is really doing well, is that during this stormy period for them, because of COVID, what happened is the leader, the CEO, was calm. I mean, what he was doing is asking those intelligent questions, because asking questions will lead to intelligence. Knowledge is getting the right answers. So here's the thing: is that he was very proactive, and he was looking into how he could convert a challenge into an opportunity. So that was the difference. And what happened? The culture, everybody else in the organization were also equally calm, because the tone is set at the top. So it's very important to be resilient at the end of the day. So these are just some of the core impact drivers that I wanted to share with you. Now, I still want to extend to a couple of tools. Like I said, connect to your core, your values itself. Handpick your values and find out and be aware of your values. And when was the last time you experienced, walking that value or really acting as per that particular value? And you will see that it is going to enrich you. It's going to help you to unfold a different level of capability as well. So that is key and critical. Another key point is obviously progression, which I mentioned. One of our flagship themes is progression to excellence, because impact comes when you have insights, and insights come when you progress. And progression is the key to happiness as well, and fulfillment, because as you progress, you are going to feel more happier and fulfilled. and you will be able to make the right decisions. This is why we always believe in empowerment as well, which brings in effectiveness. So these are powerful conduits to the growth of your particular career or your business as well. And it's not about title. It's no longer about titles. It's not that, because I've seen CEOs, I've seen head of departments who have certain qualities, but they still miss out on the four tools which I shared with you. So this is so critical that you need to make sure that you have the right characteristic traits built up. And it's a simple skill set, yet we are challenged because of the plethora of information and because of the um, where the discussions go about, and the communication, the level of communication, the level of influence, the level of impact. I was just talking to an executive. I mean, she was telling me one just 2 3 days ago. I was just coaching her, and she was telling me, Vijay, one of the key problem is my manager never apologizes. So this is again that identity crisis which comes in, because she feels vulnerable, I believe. But here's the point: is that if she makes an error, she never apologizes, which is again a weakness. This is why I say that you need to reflect upon what are the true qualities which will help you to surface out the best of the best insights from your team, from whomever you're collaborating or whatever you're doing. And by the way, even your clients and customers as well, if you use the same strategies and the techniques which I've shared with you, it's going to help you to achieve milestones you never expected. It's how you really immerse into the discussions and actively communicate, but at the same time, have that ability to listen with empathy and pick up those clues and cues, as I put it. So it's like tuning into this frequency and vibration. It's just like going into this radio frequency. When you go into the right radio frequency, you're going to hear well. So it's about tuning into the frequency of whom you're discussing with. So these were some of the key components I wanted to share with you. And I just want to leave you with this final thought: creativity, you have to build upon your creativity. And how can you build upon your creativity? Is by going into white space. Second is your values, working on your values, and staying true to your true north itself, whatever your true north is, because you'll be able to achieve your goals, and whatever you've set for yourself, you'll be able to achieve in a more appropriate and better way. Your mental capacity at the end of the day, which is again another key component, building your mental capacity. Now, think of a koi fish. A koi fish, if you put it in a fish tank, it will just grow 2 inches. But take the same koi fish and put it in the river, and what's going to happen? It's going to grow a foot long. How is that possible? It's because of the environment we are in. So you have to build your capacity. You have to build your mental capacity at the end of the day. And this is why emotional intelligence is so important in managing your emotions, so that you can build capacity and evolve as you move forward. Being congruent, like I mentioned, that you just have to be true to yourself and be authentic in whatever you do. And finally, action oriented. You need to take action. Non I mean, I've seen many who speak, but there are very many doubters as well. So it's very important to be action oriented. And when can you be action oriented? Is when you have vested trust in everything, in all the resources that you have, in your leadership pipeline, in everything that you do, because trust is the key currency, default currency, in my opinion, when it comes to growth. And my dear friends, this is what I want to leave you as a parting thought: is that we are moving to an era of digitization. We are already, I mean, if you're not in this digitization world, then obviously you're lagging. So it's very important to make sure that we are already there. Artificial intelligence is here to stay. So we need to make sure that emotional intelligence supersedes artificial intelligence. This is what the future is all about. It's about how you are going to manage your feelings, the feelings and perception of others as well. So work on this particular concept and see how it's going to help you to grow as you move forward in this particular decade of 2020, 2030, and the changes which are going to really take place. My dear friends, I hope you enjoyed this short session on emotional intelligence, and I'm going to share some more insights in the next session. It's all about you achieving excellence in everything you do. That is what our purpose is, and that is what we look forward to. So thank you very much. Thank you to all those who have commented and all those who have attended, and I'll see you in the next live feed. Thank you very much.